fellow members of the Mormon congregation. I'd like to start off today by opening up our Bibles to Matthew chapter 7, verses 1 and 2. Do not judge, or you too will be judged. For in the same way you judge others, you will be judged. And with the measure you use, it will be measured to you. This goes in all aspects of our lives, in all aspects of the world's issues, including same-sex marriage. We, as Christians, have an obligation to be open-minded towards people's beliefs and needs, just as people are towards our beliefs, and we are able to live our lives the way that we choose, that we want to live. In the Bible and Jesus say many wonderful things about love and families. However, it never explicitly defines a marriage as a relationship between one man and one woman. The Bible gives no good reason why homosexuals should not be allowed to marry. It actually gives many reasons why they should. Today, in this speech, I'm going to argue that Proposition 8 is unconstitutional. First, I'm going to argue that to enact Prop 8 is to suppress a minority group in America. Second, I'm going to argue that by overturning Proposition 8 will save us from the tyranny of majority. And last, I'm going to argue that by being accepting to gay marriage, it will not ruin the sanctity of traditional Christian marriage. Proposition 8 was a ballot passed in November of 2008 that eliminated the rights for same-sex partners to get married. According to Judge Stephen Reinhart of California's Court of Appeals for the Ninth Circuit, Proposition 8 serves no purpose and has no effect other than to lessen the human dignity of gays and lesbians in America, and to reclassify their relationships and families as inferior to those of opposite-sex marriage. With this being said, this proposition clearly violates the First and the 14th Amendments of the Constitution. In the First Amendment of the Constitution, it clearly establishes the separation of church and state. Proposition 8 clearly suppresses gays and lesbians as a minority and imposes religious beliefs and moral codes and values on people who do not feel the same way. Furthermore, the separation of church and state has allowed us as Christians to choose to practice our religion the way we want. And by passing Proposition 8, it's clearly unconstitutional because these people are not able to practice their lives the way that they want to. Proposition 8 also violates the 14th Amendment, the Due Process and Equal Protection Clause of the 14th Amendment. The Due Process Clause prohibits local states and governments from prohibiting people from liberty, life, and property without reasons to ensure that there is fairness. This clause also gave citizenship rights to black people in America and made it illegal against the law to be discriminatory towards anybody. Proposition 8 is clearly unjust and clearly violates this constitutional amendment. Not only is it unfair, but we are clearly discriminating against a minority group in America, and this is against the law. By overturning this proposition, we will save ourselves from the tyranny of the majority. The tyranny of majority was a fear expressed by many of the world's great philosophers such as Aristotle, Plato, and Madison. It's when the decision of a majority places its idea so high above an individual or minority group that it puts them in a state of active oppression. Proposition 8 clearly places gays and lesbians into oppression. In a poll conducted by CNN in November of 2008, 52% of voters voted yes on Proposition 8, while 48% voted no. With such a slim margin of 4%, why, as a society, are we willing to risk the tyranny of the majority when it is so unethical and so wrong? We are now teaching our children, who are the future of America, intolerance to other people's views and to be discriminatory when something does not match your exact values. As Mormons, the Mormon religion is a minority in California and in the country. Now, if a bunch of Christians came together and decided that they no longer wanted the Mormons to practice their religion because of the Book of Mormon, which no other Christian religion has, and you were no longer allowed to practice that way, how would you feel? Not only is your constitutional rights being violated, but you are losing your freedom as an American to practice the way you want to be how you want to live your life. And this is clearly unjust, and it's very unchristian. So with that being said, according to the samesexmarriage.org, which is a coalition of religious leaders and community leaders, to vote yes on Proposition 8 would help restore the sanctity of marriage that the vast majority of California voters have determined is right and should be upheld and not undermined. Us as Christians have a responsibility to be tolerant to other people's views and other people's values. And when we are imposing our values on other people, we are now not following the Ten Commandments. And as Christians, we need to be tolerant, just as Jesus was in the Bible. If you look at your Bibles in the book of Matthew in chapter 9, Jesus and other New Testament leaders showed through example that not to be self-righteous or judgmental to the people that you believe are sinners. And in the book of Hebrews, chapter 10, verse 30, it clearly states that thou shalt not take into their hands the judgment. That is for God to do and God alone. And with that being said, we are not doing that with Proposition 8. With Proposition 8, we are not listening to the Bible, and we are discriminating against this group. Christians have been prosecuted throughout the years and violated, and thanks to the Constitution of the United States, Christians are now allowed to practice the way that they feel and their heart is right. And by banning same-sex marriage, we are being blasphemous, and we are not upholding our Christian values. Today, I argue that Proposition 8 was unconstitutional. First, I argued that by enacting Proposition 8 was to suppress a minority group in America. Second, I argued that to overturn Proposition 8 would save us all from the tyranny of majority. And last, I argued that by being accepting to gay marriage, it will not change your traditional Christian values of marriage. And with this being said, if you look in the Bible, most of the men and leaders in the Bible were not what traditional marriage is today. That has evolved. And in the Bible, the men and the kings had many wives and fathered many children with many mistresses. And today, marriage has evolved to being a monogamous between one man and woman, and it's evolving further. And homosexuals should be able to marry, and we need to not judge others, just as the Bible instructs us not to. It's up to us as Christians to change this horrible cycle of injustice. Thank you.